Good afternoon, our beloved professors. I am glad to be here to present you today a study of potential improvement of shuttle bus service in KMUTT. I am Yawittha Pita and Panachai Chaiboon, Peerasin Amphanphithak are my teammates. And thank you for very big support from our project advisors, Assistant Professor Dr. Vasin Getikomo. We will be walking you through the introduction, literature review, until the conclusion and suggestion. Objective. Without objective, our project would not be into shape. Therefore, our objective is to make our bus service more efficiency and cost saving. And in order to do that, we need to understand the travel pattern of the current passengers, which would later lead to possible development and solution. The study scope will be covered rings, users' opinions, and the operation of bus service. And before starting the literature review, I would like to give you little recaps of what is our service operating right now. There are 4 buses in total, which operate during the weekends and weekdays. And in this, there are head time between 15 to 30 minutes during the peak hours. Literature review. The literature review first covering passengers' response to bus fare changes. In this, we've learned that travelers who travel during peak periods and who live in larger cities are less responsive to fare changes compared to those who live in rural areas. Hours of service. Hours of service is very important as this really help us do the project. It tells us the relationship of cost of operations to hours of service. The long hour of service, meaning there are increase of cost of operation. However, in terms of passengers' perspective, it is a better for them to have a long hour of service as they have a greater choices of trip. Before we start the presentation, we also take a look into a real life situation and we found the case study of University of North Dakota campus shuttle study. And in this, they propose 2 solutions for their problems. First is to increase service frequency and second, to improve on-time performance. Next, Peerasin will talk about methodology.
In the part of methodology, the whole process starting from select the sample and did the data correct. After that, the data will be analyzed in detail. Then we will provide the improvement alternative to the building of ground management. We use survey form in order to survey the need of people. We divided survey form into 2 forms. The first survey form is KMUTT Shuttle Bus Service Evaluation. We conduct the sample from the user, which is the 352 passengers per day of the shuttle bus service. Another form is KMUTT Shuttle Bus Service Development. Since we would like to collect the data from user and non-user, so we use total population in KMUTT around 15,000 people. In this form, we use 2 theories to make it accurate. We use Kersey and Morgan as a lower bound, Taro Yamane as an upper bound. This slide is shown through theory that we mostly use in the part of analysis. The passenger kilometer will help us to see how much kilometer in individual passenger use. The cost per passenger also help us to figure out which route costs the most. Results from analyzed data came from 2 parts. One part is analysis from 2 survey forms. Another one is existing data that we got from the building of ground management institute, such as data of capacity and cost. Next is analysis data of KMUTT Shuttle Bus Service questionnaire, which we will observe to upgrade the service to be more suitable for the user. As a result, they are said that using the shuttle bus service, which has fixed schedule that is good for the user to know when the bus will come, and also help them to save the travel expense. On the other hand, some of respondents suggest are the route doesn't meet the user need, the schedule is not effective. Moreover, the route can connect with other transportations. This is service improvement suggested by survey. We can prioritize the needs of users as follows. The first one is most desirable time. Most respondents want to take a bus on evening rather than using in another period. And Sukhsawat Kilo 9 is the most preferred stop. Lastly, most of respondents are willing to pay for a fare of 10 to 45 baht if the bus have better service. Capacity is talk about the static demand of the bus service. This data is further used to determine the number of empty trips per day, which means the bus operating between campuses without user. Bangmot to Bangkok route is the most used compared to the other. Moreover, the empty trip in this route also the highest because they have a lot of trips. Passenger kilometer can be used for the deeply analyzed. Route Bangmot to Bangkok is the most demand route, but this route operates with the most number of empty trips, and route Bangmot to KX is the least demand route. Therefore, we attempt to improve these 2 routes to be more effective due to this route allowing transfer to public transportation in the city center. Existing costs show that 44.4 baht is an average cost per passenger of 4 routes in Pearson. There are 3 options that we propose in this study. Next, Panachai will talk on each option in detail.
First, I will start with service schedule adjustment of option 1. In this option, we focus only in two routes, which is Bang Mod to Bang Hun Thien and Bang Hun Thien to KX, to bring the service schedule adjustment of Shuttle bus as close as possible to existing conditions. For route Bang Mod to Bang Hun Thien that depart from Bang Mod, we eliminate 2 trips out of 18 normal trips, which are at 15 o'clock and 19 o'clock, and lead time 6 trips, as shown in the table below. For route Bang Mod to Bang Hun Thien that depart from Bang Hun Thien, we eliminate 2 trips out of 20 normal trips, which are at 11 o'clock and 20 o'clock, and lead time 3 trips, as shown in the table below. For route Bang Hun Thien to KX that depart from KX, we eliminate only 1 trip out of 9 normal trips, that is 11, 20, and lead time 4 trips, as shown in the table below. Second is option 2. In this option, we focus to increasing the efficiency of route Bang Mod to KX, which is why Bang Mod campus is being centralizing, meaning that it is the main bus station where all the passengers must come to Bang Mod station for transit. And this is why route Bang Hun Thien to KX is chosen to be removed. First, I will start with service schedule adjustment of option 2. In this option, we focus only route Bang Mod to KX. For route Bang Mod to KX that depart from KX, we retiming and adding new service trip. The table below shows the complete service schedule adjustment that contain a total of 15 trips, including 7 trips in the morning, 5 trips in the afternoon, and 3 trips in the evening. And when passengers arrive at the Bang Mod campus, there will be a service trip that can connect to Bang Hun Thien campus without having to wait. For route Bang Mod to KX that depart from Bang Mod, we also retiming and adding new service trip. The concept of this option is that it had the same timetable as option 2 and increase extra direct service trip in route Bang Hun Thien to KX in order to meet the building and ground management advice. I will start with the schedule adjustment of option 3. In this option, we focus only route Bang Hun Thien to KX. For route Bang Hun Thien to KX that depart from Bang Hun Thien, we add 6 extra direct service trips. The table below shows the complete service schedule adjustment that contain a total of 6 extra trips, including 2 trips in the morning, 2 trips in the afternoon, and 2 trips in the evening. For route Bang Hun Thien to KX that depart from KX, we add 5 extra trips as shown in the table below. The slide will show the summary of cost difference in each option when compared with normal trip. Option 2 is provided the most cost reduction among all options, which could reduce the cost per passenger up to 4.68% or 3.97 baht per passenger. And after considering cost difference and timetable of each option, we also determine the possible vehicle reduction in each option. In order to know how many vehicles in each option will be need, so option 1 can reduce the number of buses from 7 to 5 buses, but need to add 1 van. For option 2 and option 3 also can reduce the number of buses from 7 to 5 buses and use the same number of 5 vans for option 2 and add 2 vans for option 3. Next, Yawittha will talk about suggestions for the future study.
For this project, the suggestions that we have created are first for the shuttle bus service, and in this, we have clearly answers the objective. We are able to develop a guidelines or we say those 3 options, and we would recommend option 2 and option 3 as the solution for our bus service right now because it promotes Bang Mod to Bang Kun Tien route, which are the routes that allow us to move into the cities, and it also connect people with the public transportation. And for improvement and future studies, as the COVID situation is occurring right now and before our project even started, the data was not very accurate at all because there are reduced number of passengers here. So we did not use the information from year 2020 and 2021, which make it less accurate. And we also want to improve the qualities of the question as it should be more specific. And lastly, for those who want to have deeper study in this in transportation, our project would be a help to them as there are information such as cost of per passengers. This would help them to find the cost of operation. It would help the study of alternative types of vehicles such as EV bus to be possible. And thank you for listening. If you have any question, don't hesitate to ask me. ขอบคุณค่ะ